thing I would always hear is like, HL, which is my nickname. Why you talk white?
Why you talk white?
Why you talk white?
Why you talk white?
And remember the first time I heard it, I was like, I'm not. Like, this is how the people at school talk. Like, this is. I'm speaking clearly.
Right. Right. It's crazy being. And now when I'm around my family, Candace tell me all the time, "Oh, you definitely sound like you from the South." It comes back every single time, right? And now that I'm able to communicate clearer, and that was another thing that kind of was intimidating for me with speaking on stage, as you know, very, very scared of not communicating effectively due to my slang and the way I talk.
Welcome to the All Blends Perfectly podcast. Keith, Ryan, Harrison, Coalition Properties, and friends talking about the intersection between lifestyle, real estate, culture, art, and everything in between, because it all blends perfectly.
Good day, good people, and welcome back to another episode of the All Blends Perfectly podcast. I'm here today with my brother, Keith James, a.k.a. Jimmy Kenneth. In spirit, we got our brother, Ryan Butler. He had to go get those beautiful locks retwisted, tightened up, looking good, because we're going to be out in the streets at some conventions coming up. So he is here with us in spirit. And today, we are actually going to talk about a subject that has been integral to both of our kind of business journeys and lives of code switching. And you know, I'm excited to dive into that. But before, we want to give a little bit of kind of current events and kind of what's been going on with our life. In the summer, people are outside, and real estate conferences, conventions of every kind, not just real estate, go on. And in the last 3 weeks, we have had the chance to be at a few different things. Keith was just on stage a couple days ago.
Yeah, a couple days ago, Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas. Let's talk a little bit about where you were, what conference you were at, and what that was like. Yeah,
man, I was out in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Inman conference, which is a big real estate conference where the top real estate agents get to come in and network and learn a lot. I took so much. Shout out to John Sheplack. Shout out to Kimber McKeedy. Shout out to a lot of those people that was there on stage educating. And another thing that I take from these conferences when I go out and speak is that the energy and motivation I come back with to be able to pour into the team, man.
You're blowing up that text, man. That group text. You just had to.
I get so hyped up when I'm at these conferences, man, because I learn so much, and it just motivates me it motivates me so much to be able to come back and pour into to the team and also my clients, man. The information that I get there, and also too being in those rooms and being a speaker and moderator on stage puts me in different circles strategically to be able to come back and I hear things and learn things even before it comes down the pipeline. You know, and I'm sure you're very familiar with all of that.
Yeah, that's what we've loved about it. And we were, finalists for the Innovator Award, which was dope. Huge honor to even be in that space and conversation.
Indeed.
But there's a whole separate ecosystem that we're kind of learning about and that we've always been kind of adjacent to. And it's just really dope and give you some flowers to have the rest of the folks see what we've always seen and known, and to give you those opportunities, not just to speak, but to moderate, to teach, to be on stage at a high level.
Yeah, I want to, it's been a blessing to be able to grace these stages, man. And I'm just so thankful for the circle that we have. I'm thankful for, people like Kimber, people like Bo, that has put us in positions to win, right? And shout out to the Keller Williams family as well, because we were at the Inman conference in Vegas, and all the Keller Williams showed up at Inman. And every panel, every stage, shout out to Julia Lachey, David Ford, like every stage we were on, we rocked it, man. We rocked it. And I'm so thankful to have the opportunity to be in the position to speak and be a moderator and also be in these circles that just motivates me and inspire me to keep going.
You motivate them, you earned it, and I'm excited for you, brother. I'm happy to have you.
Thank you.
Before you went to Las Vegas, we were together in Houston, Texas for another event. And it's funny, we talk about code switching, because then there's like the other side of communication that happens when you're an extremely black-centric, black-focused, black type events, which is what we were at, which was a combination of 3 events at one time. The culture. And that's
shout out to Emmerich Peace, man.
Well, look, and we've talked about this, man. That's at the core of kind of what makes us who we are and what we incorporate in our business and our world, what we do. So while we were in Houston, 3 things happening at once. One was the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, or NAREB. They had their national conference. And what NAREB is the black alternative to organized real estate association, because NAR did not allow black people to be in the association when it was first founded. So NAREB was created. They have annual conventions and conferences. This was their biggest annual convention and conference.
Yeah.
And I had the pleasure of speaking on a panel there. Shout out to Shantae and Shaniqua that put together that whole program. Outgoing President, Madam Lydia Pope. Just such amazing energy.
Yes.
And just like...
Yes.
To speak to the needs, the cultural specificities, the nuance that is just being a black sales professional in the
Yes.
country. They do it at a high level and they do it so well. At the same time, there was the $1 Billion Blackout, which
Yeah.
shout out to Emmerich Peace, he put together, and Mr. Ben Slayton, which created an award, and Keith was honored as the #1 black realtor in the whole country.
Thank you.
And there was the Power Networking Conference happening at the same time. It was a lot.
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
It was
But
a lot.
I left that with such a level of both encouragement and just excitement to see that many black folks in one place talking about positivity in
Yeah.
the future and the things that they were doing to make change and win. Actually, this was the night before you came. Congresswoman or senator, I'm sorry if I got her title wrong, Sheila Jackson Lee, who's
Okay.
based out of Houston,
Yeah.
came and spoke to the whole crowd
Wow.
about how important real estate and ownership and financial literacy and all the things we really care about and we're talking about are in our community, are to her constituents, and just praising everybody there for pouring into themselves and getting better so they can take that back home and help the community. So,
amazing.
that's a little bit of current events and what was
Yeah.
going on. And we're always grateful as both individuals and as a leadership group to be invited to share and speak
Yeah.
and collaborate.
Indeed, man. And a lot of times when we're all in rooms like that, it's very rare that you see a lot of black sales professionals in a room like that spreading the good gospel, right?
Yeah.
And I wish there were more media behind those conferences like
Yeah.
that, so people can see that we are in these rooms, we are having these conversations, we are bringing all the news, media, the good gospel of real estate
New
back to our
advocacy,
people.
policy, all the things too, man.
All
Yeah.
of that, man.
Yeah.
Back to our people. That knowledge is very important, and we need more people to show up to those events. We need more people.
It's worth it. I guess that's the one to kind of wrap up this intro and current events. It is always worth it to make your world bigger. It's always worth it to show up and build new connections and learn new things from people in different markets and different places at different stages of their career than you.
Yeah.
So, I think it's always worth it. And another special shout out, while we were down in Houston, we got to actually go visit the Trill
Trill Burger.
OG himself,
Yeah.
Bun B at Trill Burger.
Oh,
And it
man.
was a delicious burger.
It was, man.
And those fries?
It was,
The seasoning on the fries?
Oh, my God, man. I kept trying to put the fries down, and before we left, man, I just had to keep.
It's
It
like
was some
you-
special salt, seasoning on the
I rubbed my fingers around the inside of the box and lift up that extra. Man.
bro. Shout out to Bon B, man, and what he's doing for the culture down in Houston. Trill Burger, amazing time, amazing energy, and we got a chance to take a picture with the OG himself,
Like to meet him.
and got to
Bro,
meet him, man.
yeah. It was so- oh.
And he's there, Bon B, cultural icon, coming in to his store, checking on everybody,
Tables,
and
touching tables like a
tables.
restaurant manager.
Yes,
like
man.
Table to table. So
Yes.
dope. So dope.
So dope.
Yeah.
man.
So if you're in Houston, you got to check out Trill Burger. Shout out to Bun B. Amazing experience. And that whatever that fry seasoning is, you need to package that. I will put that
Oh
on my
my
fries
God.
up here. Like it was
Indeed.
that good. Oh man. All right. So code switching, man. I'm gonna start out with the definition of code switching from the Harvard Business Review. Code switching involves adjusting one's style of speech, appearance, behavior, and expression in ways that will optimize comfort of others in exchange for fair treatment, quality service, employment opportunities. Researchers suggest that code switching often occurs in spaces where negative stereotypes of black people run counter to what is considered appropriate behavior or norms for a specific environment. It's a lot. So
It's a lot.
when we think of code switching, why I wanted to bring this conversation here is in real estate sales, you have to interact with a lot of different people.
Yes.
It is possible to run a business where you don't interact with different folks, but that'd be a
Right.
pretty small and narrow business, especially in a diverse and large city like Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C., yeah.
So in my life, this has come up pretty much my whole life.
Your entire life,
My
man.
entire life?
Your
'Cause-
entire life.
Because I've had to exist and be comfortable and understand and be around in extremely all black spaces.
Yes.
And extremely all white spaces like days apart.
Right.
And I won't say that it's a skill. So to me, it was just something that I understood was the rules of how you acted in different places.
Right.
And I'd argue that code switching can be not just around like race relations, black, white,
Facts.
but our parents teach us how to act and know how you're supposed to act in church, when you're sitting in church, versus when you're playing
Bro.
with your little friends.
Bro. I ain't one of your little friends.
With your little friends.
My mama, I ain't one of your little friends. Don't come in here with that.
Don't talk to me like
So you walk in that house, code switch.
Yes, ma'am. Stand up
ma'am.
straight. And the funny
Indeed.
part to me, I think, and I want your opinion on this.
Yeah.
I think code switching is more than verbal language. It's posture.
Absolutely.
It's body language. Because even back to athletics, right? If you're interacting with a coach or a mentor or someone that your grandfather, someone that you respect, I wasn't allowed to slouch.
Not at all.
I couldn't sit like this. Like
Not at all.
my whole body language is something as simple, and I appreciate those lessons.
Yes.
Because what does it tell other people about you? The way you stand, the eye contact you have, how you shake a hand. Those are all things that are important about communicating in different circles. So
Indeed, man.
Give me some of your.
I tell my kids all the time, man. I ask them, what is confident? Yeah, man. So my grandfather, who is the most powerful and amazing man when it comes to like quotes and speeches. One of them, he said, son, you could be a star today and a nobody tomorrow. But around the confidence, he said, I don't care what circle you're in, you always walk around with your chest out and your head held high, period. No matter where you are, son. And you walk around with that confidence because people can feel that energy off you, and it says a lot. Even before, perception is everything, right?
Everything.
It says a lot walking around like that.
Yeah.
And that's how I always taught my kids to walk around.
That's important, man. And it's interesting, man, because different be it confidence, swagger, whatever words you want to use to describe how someone chooses to present themselves, like a first impression, that has different meanings amongst different cultures.
Yes,
too.
it does, man.
So
Yes, it
I
does.
feel like one of the only ways you can ever wrap your head around code switching, the need to code switch, and in some circles the requirement to code switch is you have to be exposed
Gotta
to
be
different
exposed,
circles.
man.
So one question I wanted to ask you, coming from deep South upbringing, HBCU, and then going into in the corporate world, what was that like, and maybe who taught you of what those rules were? When did you first learn to have to understand code switching?
Man, growing up in Mississippi and being around the same people for so long, I think my first aspect of code switching was when I started to play AAU basketball and traveling around the country, right? Because that was the first time I was exposed at 13, right? So getting outside of my neighborhood, getting outside of Columbus, Mississippi, and traveling the country, seeing how other people interacted that had traveled before, right? I didn't know, certain things. I didn't know, this is what you do when you go to this place, because we really didn't travel like that, right? Before. Right. And so my coach, my AAU coach, amazing guy, white guy, he would always say, no matter where you from, you still should have confidence, because I was very intimidated leaving my neighborhood, right? And that was when act like you've been here before.
Act like you've been before. That's a real thing.
That right there, act like you've been here before. That was something that I was taught very early, and it started at 13 when I started traveling the country playing AAU basketball. And I would say, going back to that has taught me in today's time, even when you're talking the language of something that you don't know anything about, at least with confidence and with vulnerability, say, hey, I don't know this, but let me go find out.
Yeah.
And
I'd argue that's the difference between swag that's not based in anything and confidence. Swag is I'm gonna legit just BS because I don't know, and I'm gonna finesse them. And again, in certain circles, or like maybe deep South hood, whatever you want to call it, that level of swag you can survive off of that all the time. Like that works all the time. Higher level business, leadership, ownership, real money conversations. You have to have confidence, and the difference is confidence empowers me to confidently talk about what I know, and transition to what I don't know from a position of both curiosity, openness, and realness. Right. Like
and
I feel
levels
like
to it. There's levels to it.
There's levels. And and the only reason I know or can even kind of understand that framework is the experience of being in spaces where I was uncomfortable. I was asked something I didn't know about. And I always joke, I just wanted okay, bro. I'd argue it's almost like playing ball or something where you have to improvise on the spot. I go back to what I do know. Right. I'm not going to get backed into a corner of what I don't know.
Absolutely not.
I'm going to get into a place back where I do know, and confidently, without making the other side feel either like that waver or that I don't know. And that I don't, because instilling confidence is everything, and almost every kind of between social and business interaction, that confidence swag like dichotomy is so interesting.
And what was cool about playing AAU basketball, when we would step on the court, we had our warm up outfits, and you step on the court confident, right? My coach would tell me in the layup line, jump as high as you can and dunk. Right. That's the confidence that you need to bring on that court, because when it's time for tip off, the other team needs to know you're ready, or either hey, those guys out down there, they're jumping out the gym,
Yeah.
right? So we need to come with it today.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you something fascinating about that. Catholic school leagues and where I played up here, you were not allowed to dunk in warm-ups. No contact with the rim. So how would we show our strength and our ability, whatever?
Yeah.
Jump up real high and throw it down in from
it
above,
down.
like, you know,
Yeah.
like a no rim contact dunk, which is like even wilder, right? Because it's
It
showing
is.
like it's just so funny.
Arms
that you were
above the
allowed-
rim.
yeah, because in the Washington Catholic Athletic Conference, where my alma mater, St. John's College High School,
Shout out to St. John's, man.
most recent champion of
Yep.
the WCAC,
Yeah.
there's a different set of rules. There's a different set of decorum. I remember I got turned away from one of our winter break games because I had 12 hairs on my chin. You had to have a
Wow.
clean face.
Wow.
St. John's rules, you had to have a clean face.
Wow.
And I feel like that level of understanding the rules of how you have to exist and present yourself
Yeah.
here in all the different ways. Always tucked in, very strict about the tucked in shirts.
Wow.
Like at every like,
Yeah.
and it's just interesting those different rules that exist in different spaces.
Yeah.
Because if somebody shows up and doesn't know, like we had some guys that would come and they didn't make it because to them all these arbitrary or stupid rules, like hey, I'm hooper,
Facts.
man. Let me just play. This is dumb. And I was always one that was like, no, these are the rules of what I always was very compliant in that sense because
Right.
I just understood I had to follow
Yeah.
them in order
Yeah.
to earn the opportunity to play. But for some people where it was brand new, that's a part of code switching too. Understanding that you got to stay within, even if these rules mean nothing, and
Yes.
the people here just made them
Absolutely.
just because.
Absolutely.
You got to stay within them if you want
Facts.
to be able to be here.
Facts. And I think for me, the most intimidating factor coming from Mississippi and talk about social adaptation, right? Communication. Coming
Yeah.
from Mississippi, we talk fast. You know, in the South in general, we talk fast. So a lot of the times, people, when I was younger, people didn't understand what I was saying. And they probably still can't today sometimes, right? They did not understand. So being able to code switch and speak, and I know we're going to talk about speaking and speaking properly, right? What does that even mean, you know? But I had to slow down when I speak. And I remember, you know, calling out plays sometimes as a point guard, and some of my teammates that were from different areas, like, what did he just say?
Yeah.
You know, what did he just say? And that's just because the language and the slang of talking, you know, I had to switch it
Yeah.
and learn and speak, you know, more clearly.
Yeah. Oh man, no. There's so many. And the last thing before we switch to talking about just language, I think of back to high school basketball again. Our cheerleaders were predominantly black at a Catholic school.
Yes.
We were again, you know, McNamara. Bishop McNamara was the predominantly black Catholic school. Carroll at the time. St. John's was mixed, mostly white. But the, you know, more black folks.
Right.
Our cheerleaders were all black though, and they were from the city. And Pretty Girl County. So they would be on the baseline. And when I say they were loud, like a different level of loud, and it would be on the visitors line, that level of intimidation I could see, especially when we would play like, no shade, Landon, St. Albans, you know, the more like straight white schools. That was leveraging a norm that is, you know, something that the black community is used to, of like cheerleaders being loud, aggressive, in your face.
Effective communication. That's what I would call it.
And it worked from an intimidation standpoint.
Yeah, it
man.
did. Absolutely.
That's when you can use language to your benefit. So let's talk about language, man. I know that I know from experience that there are certain both styles of speaking.
Yes.
Styles of pronunciation.
Right.
Pace, tonality, volume, like all these details of spoken word that just exist in different circles.
Yes.
Again, I knew it from being in different circles and having to exist. Quick story from me, when I would go back down every summer to Alabama to spend time with my family, the thing I would always hear is like, HL, which is my nickname, why you talk white?
Why you talk white?
Why you talk white?
Why you talk white?
Right? Why you talk white? And I remember the first time I heard it, I was like, I'm not... Like this is how the people at school talk. Like this is, I'm speaking clearly.
Right, right. Yeah.
Like, why you talk white? And I would hear that over and over, year over year. And it never really like upset me because I just understood that like, oh, this, you know, sector between family, cousins, whoever, they don't ever really interact with anybody like I interact with at home.
Exactly.
So yeah, man, I'm just curious of how you interacted with like speaking differently and how that's shown up differently.
Man,
for you.
it's crazy. Like over the last 10 years, going back to Mississippi, and I hear now, even up here, they ask me, where you from? And I say, Mississippi. And they'll say, well, you don't sound like you're from Mississippi at all. You don't sound like you're from the South at all. I don't even hear the tone, you know. I was like, well, maybe because I haven't had enough tequila yet. You know what I mean? But it's crazy being, and now when I'm around my family, Candace tell me all the time, oh, you definitely sound like you're from the South. It comes back every single time, right? And now that I'm able to communicate clearer, and that was another thing that kind of was intimidating for me with speaking on stage, as you know. Shout out to you for all the help that you've done to get me prepared to be able to speak on stage. But that was one thing that I was like very, very scared of, not communicating effectively due to my slang and the way I talk.
Well, but let's dig into the fear behind that.
Yeah.
Is that people are going to hear the way you say something,
right,
the way you phrase things, and they're going to stop listening.
Exactly.
Or they're going to discount what you say. And I'd argue that there is both some bigotry, some racism, some other things built in it. I won't say it's always intentional, but like you as a presenter, I remember you were keenly aware, like, I don't want them to like write me off before even hearing me.
And you know what I learned that kind of covered all of that up? Passion.
Passion, that's right.
Passion.
That's right.
When you're speaking with passion about what you do, about what you know, that covers up all of that slang, undertone, tonality, all that stuff. That covers all of it up.
And I will say the other piece now that you bring to every stage you come on is you have receipts. I mean, with a quick social media, Google, like they can, and that's the same advantage that I've had as I've done more speaking stuff. People can like, you can Google me, right?
Yeah,
Google you.
me.
Like, respectfully,
now,
right?
Respectfully. Respectfully.
So, and what I think is really cool about, the year we're in, 2023 and beyond, is that we're in a space where people can champion and lean into the differences in how we speak and present and who we are, because I'd argue that the results speak louder than just the appearance did at one time. And granted, we are lucky to be in dynamic and high level places to where we're all right with it, and it's not the same rules, not fair for everybody. But I hope to encourage somebody out there, if you are self-conscious about how you present, self-conscious about that accent, be aware of how it is perceived. But as long as you are coming from that position of passion, from preparation, from knowledge, you're going to get your message across. And if not everybody out there is in a position to receive it, that's a them problem.
That's a them problem.
And there's a lot of places in the world that actually want, welcome, and are looking forward to a variety and diversity of voice.
I am a living testimony of what you just said.
Yeah.
I am a living testimony. And you talk about that encouragement, man. When I first started speaking, I would literally heart beating out my chest, man.
You're so nervous.
Nervous.
So nervous.
I still get nervous to this day, but like at that time it was like, man, and the flexibility and adaptability to be able to speak with passion was something that I knew that people would receive it well, because I was so passionate about this real estate game. I was so passionate about, it's my duty to be able to go back and educate my people. And also being on stages, because you knew I did not want to do the stage thing. That was not my thing. I was like, no, let me one-to-one. But I feel like now, man, growing up where we grew up at and how we grew up, man, people need to see us. People need to see us. It's very important, and that's something else, man. It's very important for kids that are in my neighborhood to see me speaking about real estate, something else other than sports, right? And I think now that's the different level of passion, right? That's why, being able to go back and take kids to Africa and to expose them, because I know when I got that exposure, man, that right there, man, that changed my life.
You make your world bigger and you see something else, man. Like, I won't say something clicks immediately, but the knowledge and the experience that there are other people that are your peers, like similar place in life to you, but they have a whole different experience.
Oh my God.
Whole different. And I feel like as Black people in America, we're forced especially in corporate and professional spaces, to interact and have to assimilate in being the minority, right? Like, we're used to that.
Absolutely.
So when you choose to put yourself in a separate kind of international minority position earlier, I think it gives you a different level of confidence and, quite frankly, understanding of like, yes, there's a set of rules back at my job or back where I have to go, or back at my school. There's a whole different set of rules where somebody is elsewhere, right? And just because these folks are in the majority, they ain't right. Like, they're just more of them, right?
Social and professional advantages is what I would call it.
No, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. Another story comes to mind for me of like the other side code switch and moved up to Silver Spring when I was 6, 7. And I had my high-pitched Georgia accent. I lived from Augusta, Georgia to Silver Spring. I had my high top fade, and I had a rat tail.
Ah, the rat tail. I had
a rat
one
tail.
too, man. I had one too.
We just did in the South. Like, who decided?
When you
like,
cut it, did you keep it? Like my mom kept mine for a while.
I have no idea. My mama keeps everything. She probably got it somewhere.
I still
in a
got my
box
locks
bag.
at home, man. I cut.
Oh, I know. That's special though. That's emotional.
It is.
But I remember coming to Silver Spring, coming up to elementary school in suburban utopia, Silver Spring, beautifully diverse, mostly
Right.
white, beautifully diverse.
Right.
And the first day of school, when I was a bigger kid, so no one like ever beat me up. I was never like nervous for like my physical safety.
Yeah.
People like kind of pick at me. I remember a girl like yanked my rat tail, like pulled it.
Well, that could have meant another thing too. She
I didn't know. She might like me or something. I didn't know. Yeah,
that's the first thing. When
Yeah.
kids,
You don't
the
know.
kids, the girl hit you. That's when they like you, bro. That's what I learned early,
See,
bro.
that's different language. I didn't know the code. That's a
That's
different
the
code. I
code.
didn't know that
That's
code.
the code. That's the code. That's the code. You're right. That's the code, man.
But they're pulling the rat tail, and they're like, "Why do you talk like that?" Because I'd say like y'all,
Y'all,
biscuits.
yep,
I'm
yep,
going here.
biscuits,
I'm from
yep.
Georgia.
Yep.
I say I need because I had chicken pox, and I'm like, I take an oatmeal bath because I got chicken pox. Like I had, and there's video of me. I mean, really high pitched, like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, so super country, right? Country is grass.
Man.
But within a couple years, I then look at myself speaking because I was like first or second grade. By third grade, I just remember not wanting to have to explain that all the time because I
Yeah.
was different, right?
Yeah.
And that's just such an interesting posture to like, as a kid, get slowly conditioned to like,
Yeah.
I gotta speak more like the people here, and not because I was afraid of my physical
Facts.
safety or it was like mentally damaging. I just didn't want to have to deal with all the like
Yeah.
difference questions and like why you
Indeed.
talk like that.
And I think the difference, bro, like I was so thankful growing up in my hood, being a part of like the 100 Black Men of America, my
Yeah.
mentors, that we were taught to like embrace
Yeah.
that part of you, because one thing about it is that you are who you are,
Yeah.
and nobody can take that away from you. You know, and another thing is everybody else is taken, man. So be you, right?
Yeah.
And that right there, at an early age, going from being a part of 100 Black Men of America and going to Tuskegee University, man. I'm getting chill bumps talking about Tuskegee. Shout out to Mother Tuskegee.
Yeah.
We were taught, man, so ingrained in us to lead with who you are. And even though sometimes it may not lead to the social and professional advantages, but never take away that piece of you, because that right there is the most powerful part about you, bro.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That right there, and learning that at Tuskegee, man, and that was when I really, really had so many people, like-minded people around to really kind of cultivate me, and mentors cultivate me into where I'm at today. And if it wasn't for Tuskegee, I wouldn't be who I am today. And that's why I'm so unapologetically proud of what we've done as a company to put more Black people than any other company in real estate in houses.
Number one Black real estate team in DC.
Yep.
At the number one Black owned real estate franchise in the city.
Yes.
What's the third number one? With the
Number
number
one
one
Black agent.
Black agent in the country.
Trifecta. Indeed.
And again, I get goosebumps hearing, you talk about Tuskegee, because again, I always grew up as an understanding of what it meant
Yes.
to my whole family
Yes.
knew. But then I think back to my college experience and how being at a private white institution,
Yes.
right, and
Yes.
even if possible, actually no, not even significantly whiter than my high school,
Right.
because that's what Georgetown was.
Yes.
How that forced a level of like both academic study of African American history I did
Right.
not do before.
Yeah.
And then being forced to kind of both identify, understand, and
Yeah.
speak on behalf of Black folks.
Yeah,
right?
stand up for us.
Stand
You
up,
had to stand up.
and stand and quite frankly, defend my Blackness to
Yes.
the other Black folks who look at me
Yes.
and say I'm not Black enough.
Yes.
And I'm like, nah, man, go down to Tuskegee and look at my family in Grady, Alabama,
my
like
God.
that. Like, they're like,
Shout out to Grady, Alabama.
shout out to Grady, man. Fannin Mill Road, love it, grandma. God rest in peace.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting how I feel like you were in an environment that actively encouraged your knowledge, love, and appreciation for your history and your roots and your Blackness.
Yes.
And I was in one where it was questioned. I dove into it, had to better understand it for myself academically.
Right.
But then at the end, my conclusion at the end was just being who I am and knowing my history and loving and appreciating what my family did and what my history is was the most powerful part. Like there was no other explanation needed.
None.
And that's where I always think about code switching and this ability for me to, as a skill set to confidently and comfortably communicate and speak in different circles to different people as like a seminal skill set.
And I will argue, bro, that part of us, we're able to build rapport quicker than a lot of other people.
Yeah.
We're able to build rapport quicker than a lot of other people because of that piece of us, because it's genuine.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not real. It's not an act. Like
it's not an act.
We add nothing else. Like we can like literally simultaneously
Yeah.
exist. We're gonna be in the
Facts.
top rooms of leadership NAR
Yes.
and Ratchet Hookah Club that night.
Indeed.
On top of knowing every word, right?
Yeah.
With Boosie, right?
And able to order off both menus
right away.
You know. Indeed.
Culture. No. And it's funny. So one other like language part of I want to talk about language and a little bit about body language before we wrap it up. Do you remember Ebonics?
Yes, bro.
Do you remember? And I just bring it up because it was an academic attempt to describe AAV or African American vernacular.
Yeah.
And it was
Wow.
in the 90s. And this is like really African American vernacular English. And that's actually a technical term.
Wow.
And it really was just it was an attempt to frame in a positive way slang, like black slang.
Mm-hmm.
But then you had like some academics being like, no, like that.
We don't even, we don't say that.
We don't bring that out. Like that's not for
Yeah.
everybody else to consume. We keep that at
We
home.
keep that
like,
at home.
Don't teach it.
Facts.
But I think it's interesting because it shows this desire to have a description or explanation for why we are the way we are, spoke the way we spoke.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah.
it makes it more comfortable for folks to understand from the outside, like, oh, these Negroes speak very interestingly.
Facts.
There's a very academic way I can
Right.
break down the way they speak the way they
Yeah.
speak. And it was an answer, and we attempted. And I feel like there was a whole wave of academics that were like, yes, like we got to double down on it. And then we got a little older people like, nah. Like we that's just not.
Yeah.
That's not necessary. Like, let it be what it is. Let the way you speak and who you are be you.
Facts.
Know when and where it is applicable.
Right.
Like in any case. Right.
Right.
Like I'd argue a white redneck versus like the same people across the street from each other in Mississippi go to a bank to apply for a loan. They need to talk different.
Yeah.
Right. Like they need to speak somehow different. White and black, and the white person probably still get the loan. Black person won't.
Yeah.
But like there's a need to code switch from whatever your home, comfortable, casual language is to professional language. Exactly how much and how sterile and how tight it is different. And I think the rules are a little bit more forgiving now.
I do too, man. Expressing nuance and emotion as well. You know, you talk about for that black person going to the bank to get that loan, a lot of times the storytelling of what they've been through, the storytelling of who they are has helped out and helped their story to be able to get that loan, right? Yeah. And being able to convey their feelings more precisely. I think that in itself, when you talk about code switching and the storytelling that we see online now on social media, that's like the big thing, storytelling. Yeah. That's huge right now. And the passion and emotion that comes behind the storytelling that we do is because that's why people receive our messaging so well. Yeah. Because we're able to convey our feelings, because they see how passionate we are, because they see our energy, and we show up into those rooms as well.
Yeah. Another funny pop culture example of code switching when it became a national subject was, remember when they found out 21 Savage was actually British?
Oh my God. Oh my God. 21.
Pull up it.
Pull up it on me.
But to me, what was interesting about that was there was all these assumptions, and I'll tell you what that forced me to do, because if you remember, that was right around the time when Summer House, what's the Drake show about the British Top Boy, right? It really gave me insight. Like I had never associated Great Britain English or a British accent with the hood, or with black hood, or like with black poverty, right? Like with images of black poverty. And every big city has a hood.
Every big city,
London, like everywhere, around Egypt,
bro.
like every big city, right?
Yes, bro.
So that actually forced me, when they were making fun of him, to look more at like UK rap, and we're in an interesting time musically where UK rap is like getting more play in America. And I'm like, oh. Yeah, at first I'm like, oh, these are just like actors trying to rap. Like when I hear a British accent, it is hard for me in my brain to be like, you're not hard. Like you're not a gangster. Like you're so proper. Like what?
Yeah, I know, right? I know, yeah.
But it's a lesson in what is programmed into us and what we assume about the way someone speaks or the accent, who they are or what their story is. And
perception.
And that just like checked, I think, a lot of Americans, especially black Americans, to think and realize that no, like you can absolutely have a comparable hood, whatever upbringing you want to call it, in London.
Indeed.
Oh man. All right, last thing to talk about is kind of body language in code switching, and how like you know, your posture, you present yourself. We talked about it a little bit before with what both our grandparents and parents taught us.
Stand up straight.
But what's the line between authenticity and professionalism, right? With from a body language standpoint, like how do I, or how have you, if you've thought about it, show up in a place that is both, direct, assertive, professional, but that is not so stiff I'm acting or I'm somebody other than me?
Yeah, it goes back to my grandfather again. There's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah.
Right? And I hear that all the time. And I think the person that I'm communicating with it depends on what I'm talking about, right? Depends on the conversation. We're talking about real estate. How can I help you buy a home or sell a home? That right there with the confidence, direct, not slouching. But then also, too, when to be able to be laid back and reserved.
Yeah.
And it goes back to my grandfather again. He always said, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Right? And I think that is so important when you talk about the body language, because a lot of times when I used to go through interview training at Tuskegee University, body language was so important and so huge. And we were taught so many different ways to be able to be present in a room.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Without saying anything.
Yeah.
And I think those skill set has definitely translated over to me in my professional career today. And I think that more people should learn and go through body language training
and the psychology of how people perceive different body language and actions. And I do want to, I guess, acknowledge as a part of this, I think one demographic group that has had the most negative press against them and hardest time having to navigate code switching is Black women.
Absolutely.
Especially Black women in business and leadership.
Absolutely.
And it's, I think 2020 was a time when people were talking more about, the concerns of Black people, like the lived experience and how it was different. But I feel like not enough is said. And my statement is, like, if a assertive and strong and powerful Black woman shows up, there's immediately like negative connotation labels placed on, where if it were a Black man doing it or just a white person in general, it's like, oh man, like look at him,
right?
Awesome.
He's so confident.
Yeah. So like, I don't know when or where in the world that will change, because we grew up with very strong and powerful Black women in our lives, and I never went to any of those negative labels. I don't even say the words that people try to put on like the archetype of a strong Black woman publicly.
It's a good point, Beach.
But like, what is it going to take for like people to realize that like it's one, not fair, and that it's also misplaced when there's a strong Black woman speaking her mind and defending a cause that probably needs to be defended in the right way.
Man, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that, but what I will say is, the more visibility the culture have about putting Black women on different platforms, so everybody can see that. That's when I think it will be received well. And if it's not, so be it. So be it.
And you want to know an ally that I think stepped up in a big way to both defend Black women, code switching, and Black people, Caitlin Clark from Iowa.
Oh yeah,
remember that in the Final Four?
Yeah,
the
Final
incident
Four.
was with her.
The
and,
ring. The ring.
A girl from LSU who's the beast. Like, getting all the NIL money, national champ from Baltimore. Reese. Amber Reese. I'm messing up her name, bro. I gotta put some respect on her name. Hold up. But there was a whole incident, right, where
Angel Reese.
There we go.
Sorry,
Reese.
Angel.
My bad, Angel. Queen.
We love you, by the way.
You can keep doing what you do and changing what people think and see of a strong, assertive, confident Black woman in media. Like, people need to see more of that.
See that, man.
And then they get checked when they want to immediately throw some type of title on her,
right?
Because Caitlin Clark was like, I did the same thing.
Facts.
Like, I did the exact same thing, and y'all didn't say it to me. And I feel like there were a whole bunch of people with eggs on their face afterwards. Like, wait, no, it was different.
Everybody wanted to make it a thing. That was the thing. Like, I was so heated, bro. When that came about, because Caitlin, I'm so glad Caitlin spoke up for her, and she said what she said from Iowa. And she get buckets too, by the way.
Buckets.
When she said that, man, and everybody then had the egg face, right? But man, like, Angel Reese did not back down, and she continued, right? She continued to be who she was, unapologetic, and she was almost like, "I'm not going to the White House." You don't remember that? I was like, "Angel, come to DC. Come to DC, please. Come to DC.
Dude.
You're 30 minutes up the road. Come on."
Like, there's a line, right? Like, we get it.
I was so heated, man. Everybody wanted to make that was like the storyline. I know we all have to have headlines and stuff like that, but like, man, like, why not talk about the greatness of an athlete that she is? Why not? Why couldn't that be the storyline? But you had to talk, and she had to deal. What I didn't know was that she had to deal with that the entire year.
Oh yeah.
Angel had to deal with that labeling the entire year. And it wasn't. That's when I started following her on Instagram. I'm like, oh, she has a story behind this.
Yeah.
Man.
And I mean, look, shout out to, again, the generation. We talked a couple episodes about the kids living and doing everything online and how it's a complaint. But I look at someone who then leverages their platform both to reset an expectation of how people are seen, which is what she's doing. But then she couples it with production, man, at a high level.
Exactly.
She's getting it done.
She got receipts.
She got the receipts. So like, if someone else is just out here kind of popping off, talking aggressive, wild, crazy, loud, whatever you want to call it, but they ain't doing nothing, then people are going to complain. But when when you come out and you say, no, I'm an actual champion, I'm putting in the work, I'm getting the results, shut up.
And back to the passion piece. The passion that she has for the sport and the passion that she shows in the game of women's basketball gives her that social and professional advantage now. And now she's able to speak and talk her talk and do what she does at a high level and be who she is at a high level, which is huge.
And the most powerful thing about the visual, the image, is I think she is a part of this rebranding of Black passion, Black excitement, as something that's not threatening or dangerous or, oh Lord, or scary. It's like, no, this is literally the exact same thing that other, white athletes have done for a very long time. A little bit of different flavor, a little bit of different sauce and style, but it's the same.
And it's only sauce and style that she can provide.
Yes. From her background, from who she is. Authenticity. It's powerful, man. Cool. Any final thoughts around code switching?
No, man, this was good, man. This took me back.
Right? Well, some tips. I think that's what would be most powerful. I think you gave a little bit of it before. To someone that might be self-conscious about their need to code switch wherever they are on their journey of communication. Speak some words to them. Yeah,
man. I would just say, man, everybody else is taking, so be you, man. Just be who you are. And no matter what circle you in, no matter who you are around, never forget where you come from. Never forget your story, because everybody has a story. And never be afraid to tell your story, because you never know who needs to hear your story. And also with that, when you're telling your story and you get a platform, go back and bring somebody else up with you so they can tell their story. And I think that's a huge piece.
Be the example, too. Be the example to someone else.
Be the example.
I'd say that, man, I think code switching is still a very real reality of both the corporate world, the business world, and just interaction in diverse communities. If you're someone that's struggling with, feeling like it's not authentic or it's not you from having to code switch, I'd say just understand the rules of the space where you want to be. Acknowledge that those rules are still not fair, but the way I'd argue you get to change those rules is like the Angel Reese example, production. Show them from the front that you are leading and that you're getting it done, and that by the way you express yourself or communicate, that does not have a negative impact on the work that you put out. So, I love this convo, man. This was super
great,
dope.
man.
Yeah, man.
This
thank
was
you
great.
Thank you for opening up and know a little more of your story, man.
Thank you, man.
And AAU, it comes back to AAU.
AAU basketball,
again,
man. Yeah, shout out to Jackson Tigers, man. Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, if you want to follow more of the All Blends Perfectly podcast, the best place to do it is on YouTube. You can find us on Instagram at All Blends Perfectly. This gentleman is at Keith James Realtor. I am at HL Beach. Our partner Ryan is at Ryan Butler Hoya. Locks. And our sales team is at Coalition Properties. We thank you so much for joining us on the All Blends Perfectly podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.